Do you need a business plan? Do you need to sell your business? That and more today on Cash Flow. Hi, I'm Jason Waters, CEO of JW Financial Group, and welcome to Cash Flow, where we talk about the number one goal of your business, which is to create cash flow. With us today is Mitzi Moore. Welcome, Mitzi. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah. I know we've talked about you coming on a long time, so I'd like to start out by you telling us your story.
Okay. Well, it's great to be here, and thanks for having me. I have had several businesses and actually have several businesses right now. So I am a serial entrepreneur just like you, and started out having a plumbing business, working in the plumbing business with my father, and having Sundial Plumbing, and sold that business 3 years ago. And now work in real estate with Atlanta Fine Homes, Sotheby's, and have also my builder's license, and work with Mitzi Smith Properties, Georgian Homes, and do a little bit with that. And so right now, just the two businesses.
Okay.
It's keeping me busy.
That sounds like enough to keep busy for sure.
It does.
What advice would you give someone that wants to start a business?
Great question. And Mitzi, you have started multiple businesses, some on your own, some with family members. So what would you say to that?
Probably the most important part of starting a business would be the business plan. Definitely comprehensive feasibility study to make sure that you have a viable business, and that with either yourself or partners that you have common goals, and that it's financially and market-wise and in every way a feasible business. And you want to start out with a successful plan, because if you don't, you're likely not going to be successful.
So some folks I talk to think they don't need a business plan. They say that's just if you need to give it to the bank or whatever. But you're saying you really need a business plan.
I think that you're likely not to succeed without a business plan, in my opinion, in every way, from with your partners to make sure that you have the same goals, and that also for the finances and the market. In every way, you need a business plan. Just like building a house without a set of plans.
Exactly.
It really is, because it's really very much like building a house. And I'm a builder. You have to start with your pillars, your foundation, and you just can't build a good house without a set of plans.
Sure. And a lot of times with business plans, it's the creation of the plan is where you're really learning. It's not the static document in the end, but it's the thought process of who are my clients, where are they coming from? How much can I charge them? How much do I make per client? Who are my suppliers? And thinking through all of that. Who's my competition? How do I win? So all of that goes in this thought process. Things that you might not think about if you don't try to put it on paper.
Well, the whole time you have to be cognizant of what is your value, because you have to always be ahead of value. If you aren't giving value, then why do you exist? There's no reason for people to pay you money. Mm-hmm. You have to be sure that you're always giving more value than you're receiving money.
Right.
And that's the essence of why that you exist and why people would support you. And that changes over time with competition and with the landscape of business, is that you have to make sure that you're giving more value than people are giving you money.
Yep.
So
very true statement.
So it's imperative, and that you have to always be looking. When you have decided on what the value is, you need to be always looking of how you can increase that. And I always try to keep the money the same, but get the value more and more. And of course, as you do that, the money goes up. But you want to always make sure that you're giving way more value than the money that you're charging.
I agree. And when I've run into issues with, I think we all have at some point with clients, is when we don't keep adding value.
Right.
And so
Absolutely.
They don't want to keep paying you.
That's right.
So great points.
How do you get a business plan started?
Well, usually when you start a business, you would start with a basic feasibility study, and you look at all of the main areas: the finance, the customers, the market, the SWOT analysis, and then you would start with a basic business plan like any bank would want. would be comprehensive. And then it's almost like a blueprint. You start with the main document, and then as you go through time, you use the document because it's like a basic tool. It's something that you use. It isn't one document that you make for the bank and then set it aside. Because if it is, it's just a lot of busy work, and it's not relevant, and it isn't going to help you. And it should be a vibrant, living document that you use all of the time. And in my business, we always did, at the end of the year, we did a state of the company end of the year report. And what we did is all of our data fed into, so all of the analytics that we kept fed into the document. And we would look at those components at the end of the year and see how we did on the scorekeeping that we wanted to keep. For example, in human resources, what was the turnover? How did we do in the training? What was our diversity? All of the areas that we wanted to keep up with. And then how many people that we had licensed? What did we want to do in just the HR area? In the customer area, how many repeat customers did we have? How much growth in customers did we have? What was our geography footprint? Did we grow in the areas that we wanted to grow with? And then we overlap that with the advertising. How did our advertising perform? For the dollars that we spent, did it generate the return on investment that we wanted it to generate? Those type things in all of those areas. In the financial, did we have the growth that we wanted to? Did we get the return on investment for the areas that we wanted to grow?
Yeah.
What was the general turnover and all of the different areas? And we had product development. Did we have new growth in new areas? Projections according to what we wanted to do. So all of those areas I would feed it back to that basic feasibility study every year. And so when you look at that, you start seeing trends after 4 or 5 years. And so it's really fun because you sit back and you say, wow, I'm doing so great in so many areas and I'm not in other areas. So if you use those, if you keep analytics into the areas, you can start focusing on the areas that you want to. And you can be intentional with your business, and you start being much more fruitful with your time.
Right.
And you can direct your energies to get the results that you want.
So I think what some of our viewers would like to know is, you're talking about a plumbing company, correct?
Right. Well, and it can apply to really
but that was your company.
Right.
And so we have a lot of contractors that watch the show, and so for people that think that this is Fortune 500 lingo, it's not. It's a plumbing company. It's a contractor.
A small company.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's for anyone. Anyone can use these tools and be successful and help them be more successful. Something you brought up, I just want to make sure everybody knows, is SWOT analysis,
yes.
which is taking your strengths, weaknesses, oppositions, and threats. That's what that means. And Google it. You can find plenty of templates and how to do that. But I think that's an important tool as well,
yes.
to know who your competition is.
And you can do it on yourself too. I mean, you can do it whether you're one person. I do that now with realty. So I'll look at that, and I'll look at my time that I spend, personally with organizations, because I'm sort of starting over as
Sure.
a one-person business, and what I want to do with the time and how I'm going to reach people and connect. And so it's the same thing. It doesn't matter if you have 70 employees or 700 or just one.
Right.
What is it like changing from one industry to another?
Going from one industry to starting your own business, I think is kind of what a lot of folks want to know. And I did that myself a couple years ago. I was a banker for almost 20 years and decided I wanted to be on my own. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I'd worked with entrepreneurs for 20 years. And so I always wanted to pursue that route. So I did. I started 2 companies, or started working with one company, a friend of mine in the mortgage business, and then started this outsourced CFO and accounting company. And so I basically took knowledge that I had from my previous industry and used that to start my new field. And what I would say to anyone is you have to have some kind of link to what you used to do in the past. Like if you were a physician and you decide you want to go start a restaurant, that's probably not the best idea. But if you were a physician, you want to start a medical supply company, then you're a little closer to that. So what's that next step? What is close enough to what you did before to make a good transition? And I think that's really important. What's it like to make a career change from running a plumbing company to I'm a realtor?
exciting. It's sort of scary, and but I think really exciting altogether. And I love houses. I love land. I love construction. I love houses, period.
Right.
And I see a lot of opportunity everywhere. I go into these homes and I see a lot of homes that are aging, that need a little remodel. And a lot of times people go in homes and they see homes that are run down. I see opportunity in those homes. And I think that's part of my excitement, is being able to look in those homes and see opportunities that maybe others see problems, and that I can sell those homes and help people to realize good return on investment into homes, or find something. And I think that having the background in construction and building is an asset too.
What advice would you give someone that wants to sell their business?
We work with a lot of businesses in transition, a lot of businesses that are selling. We run due diligence on it, so I'm involved with a lot of entrepreneurs that are selling their companies. Mitzi has done that herself a few years ago. So tell us your experience in selling your company.
Well, I had a good experience in selling my company, and I would probably give really the same, not really, you don't do anything any different than you do when you run a good business. You run a good business, you do everything above board, the same thing that you do when you run a business when you don't have one for sale. Just good business practices, and you clean all your books up, you keep them clean. Of course, I did that before. And really not much different than you do before. Yeah. It's a little stressful because you do a little more work. You have a lot of people looking at everything.
Sure.
And for me, of course, you have to keep a lot of that confidential from with the employees, mm-hmm. because they don't understand, and so you just keep it confidential. Or I did. I guess not everyone would, but I did until that deal is complete. But I had a good experience with that.
Good. And one thing I would add is that from a financial standpoint, you got to start preparing your business for sale a couple years prior to when you want to sell. There are so many companies that don't keep good books, or they keep it good enough to run their business, but not good enough to sell. And it's really going to impact your value when you come to sell. So
yeah, one thing I did, for years, I did a lot of philanthropy in the community. And for example, the Boy Scouts would come in and they would say, we need some pipe for a project. And I would say, oh, we'll just go down to the warehouse and the warehouse manager will fix you up. And I didn't keep a tally of what I gave. I just didn't, because I just didn't do that. But then I had to start keeping a record of everything that I gave, mm-hmm. because it mattered, and that's part of keeping good, clean books.
Exactly.
And so that that is at the end of the year, state of the company report that I was talking about earlier. I was kind of surprised at how much I gave. I gave so much that my CPA sort of got onto me, which was really kind of a good thing. I was really proud of that. But I wasn't proud that I had not been keeping score, because that's part of keeping good books. And that was just one area that I needed to improve on. And so I was proud that to start keeping score. And proud, and I wanted to keep that up, but that was an area that I needed to improve on, and I did, and that was part of getting everything really cleaned up to sell the business.
Well, that's all we have for today. Mitzi, thank you for coming in.
Thank you so much.
If my folks want to find you, how can they find you?
I have a website, warrenandmore.com, and I'm Mitzi Moore with Atlanta Fine Homes, Sotheby's International Realty. So thank you.
And you can find me at Jason Waters or #cashflow. Until next time.